Papa John's presents 2 pizzas, 3 sevens, 2 Pew Large, 1 topping pizzas for just $7.77 each. Those sevens got me dreaming. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the U.S. women's national team. Beautiful look at Lake Erie as we are at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's take a look at the timeline road to France for the United States. And of course, they'll start it off coming up in a short amount of time here in the summer of 2018. Tournament of Nations. They'll get tremendous competition in that. Then it's on to CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, that in October. Then the women's draw will be in December. And then, of course, She Believes Cup in spring as the tune-up for this, the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. And welcome back, everybody. Glenn Davis alongside me is Julie Foudy. And again, all of these matches leading up to the World Cup, leading up to qualifying, are all opportunities. So let's take a look at the player pool from your perspective.
Yeah, and especially as you get into this critical last year. I mean, the vision has been wide open in terms of looking at players, and now they try and narrow down that focus. And so I think if you're looking at, and this is going to be a debate going forward, you got to get to a final 23. But let's start with the goalkeepers, and I'm going to give you a pool of 35. So we're not chopping it too much, but we're chopping it. Current roster you have on the left, obviously the 2 that are probably missing that have been in quite a bit, Jane Campbell and A.D. Franch, are the other 2 that will come in. Moving back to the backs, to the defenders, you've got on the current roster on your left-hand side, and look at all those players on your right-hand side that are going to be in the pool. O'Hara, of course, Sonnet, Short, Smith. I still put Klingenberg and Krieger in there, although they haven't been in, because I think those are 2 veterans who are great for team chemistry as well. You're always going to have in that mix. And then you move on to midfielders. You got a lot of midfielders on this current roster. The 2, though, and young players, right, who you want to get World Cup experience right now. Mallory Pugh out with the injury. Andy Sullivan didn't get called in, but clearly still in the mix, coming back from that ACL. Just needs a little bit more time. And then on the front line, you've got your forwards in on the left, Tobin Heath coming back from injury, and Lynn Williams on the right-hand side coming back from injury as well. That gets you to your 35. And again, Jill Ellis, and this is a great problem to have, right, Glenn? She's got to get down to 23. She's got some big decisions to make. She's got to cut 12 off of that. Obviously, you're going to lose a few of those goalkeepers, but you've got some very good players in that mix that she's going to have to chop down. What a great problem the United States has, though. It's almost an embarrassment of riches with how many players you have, but that's going to be a focus you have going forward, of course.
What do they call that, a champagne problem?
A champagne problem.
I think that's a champagne problem. ESPNW, log on to it, ESPNW.com for the most extensive in-depth coverage and stories surrounding the women's sports, including the World Cup Insight. The U.S. women's national team has work to do. Simona Halep finally wins her first major title at the French Open. Shamika Holtzclaw inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. ESPNW.com. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll take a look at first half highlights. Julie will break it down, and we'll take another look at that glorious goal from Megan Rapinoe. From last Thursday. It was a 1-0 win last Thursday. Let's go back and take a look at first half highlights.
Christen Press just getting a ton of space on that right side. And this is one where you think Rapinoe's going to rip it. She gives it to Ertz, who wasn't quite ready for it, and gets caught in the offside position. So that one actually didn't go through. They had a good laugh about it afterwards. But again, you're seeing a lot of success getting out wide. Christen Press, more time and space on that right side, has a chance to look up and find Pino. This one she's not going to give up. She's not going to pull that one back. And what a nice header to just across the face of that goal, back where it came from. But really, look at that ball right on target by Christen Press on the right side.
37th national team goal for Rapinoe, and of course the cross from Press in her 100th appearance for the U.S. Here's the stats.
And look at that possession, 62%. And that's something they're going to be looking at in the second half. Yes, we want possession, but we got to get some productivity out of this and get some separation from China in that second half. That's what Jill Ellis is going to be talking about at halftime.
Let's take a break. Second half right around the corner from Cleveland, Ohio. The U.S. with a 1-0 lead over China.
Oh, that is not going to end well. Shouldn't there be a guard there? Hey, that's my wizard. Wow.
It's Bud Light Lime and Orange season. Saddle my horse, you guys can walk.
Bud Light Lime and Bud Light Orange, brewed with real citrus peels.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the U.S. Women's National Team. This is First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. There's your game's goal scorer, Megan Rapinoe. Beautiful goal coming in the 35th minute, or 37th. And here's the one change. Allie Long coming on for the U.S., and out goes Morgan Bryan. How about a couple of thoughts on Morgan Bryan, Julie?
I think she's working her way back in, getting some minutes under her. I think it's good she got 45. Didn't see a ton of great flashes from her yet, but I think it's a process. This is going to be an interesting few months for her, Morgan Bryan, going forward, because she's got to start showing she can produce those minutes and make an impact in the NWSL.
And of course, China will make changes here in the second half as well. And of course, we mentioned Morgan Bryan, so vital in that 2015 Women's World Cup win. Rain coming down now here in Cleveland. That was expected in the forecast. Again, your referee, Christina Unkel. U.S. in blue, China in red. And away we go here in the second half in Cleveland, Ohio. Very vibrant U.S. over the first 45 minutes, getting minutes for players coming back from injury like Sam Mewis and Morgan Bryan, and the U.S. looking to get more out of this game here against a very organized and very committed China. And Davis alongside Julie Foudy. Kierna Davidson. And goes out for the throw-in. Rapinoe flicks it forward. Here's Morgan Bryan. And Rapinoe's got a bit of space here. Can she get it switched? Oh, can she? Yes, she can, but it's just hit a little bit too straight. Goes back to the goalkeeper, Peng Shumeng. There's a nice analytic for you. June is a very, very good month for the U.S. Women's National Team.
23 years.
Maybe a good omen.
Yeah, especially since the World Cup is in June next year.
Less than a year away for the Women's World Cup. Last one was in Canada. The country did a wonderful job of hosting it. And the U.S. providing the real drama through Carly Lloyd and her hat trick in the final against Japan at BC Place in Vancouver. Slipped into the box. Davidson goes into the challenge, and there's a flag up, offside flag. There'll be a free kick to U.S. Surprised that Jill Ellis didn't make a few more changes, Julie, to start the second half.
No, I'm not actually, because I think it obviously, when you've got some good play happening and you make so many changes, it disrupts the flow a bit. So probably wanting to give them about 15 more minutes to see if they can get a little bit of rhythm out of this. Knock a few on the board.
Rotate. Even if she's there, you can rotate. Don't look at her players. I mean, rotate if you can.
Yeah, I would expect that the U.S. would want to continue that energy that they had in the first 45 here in the second half. And over the top goes China. Out it goes out for a throw. Here are the upcoming NWSL games. This is wonderful. It's on ESPN News and Lifetime. First on Saturday, 8 Eastern on ESPN News, Chicago Red Stars, Portland Thorns. Then on June 23rd, 7 Eastern, ESPN News, Spirit against the Orlando Pride. And June 30th on Lifetime, the Orlando Pride and North Carolina Courage. So see all these U.S. Women's National Team players plying their trade in the NWSL in a city near you.
Never want to miss a Sam Kerr-Tobin Heath matchup either.
What a season Sam Kerr had.
What a player.
I did a check to make sure she didn't have any U.S. lineage. I know she's Australian. Big switch of play. And nobody picks up the second ball. This is all China right now. They're driving into the box. And out it goes for the goal kick. The U.S. recover there with Sofia Huerta, as trying to drive it forward there was Han Peng. So we have mentioned, especially on Thursday, how deep China defended. How much of that will they confront the United States in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying?
Oh, they're going to see a lot of it. It's interesting, though, tonight. You just saw them there. They're pressing higher. They're pushing a little higher. And they had such success with it in that first game. But, yeah, that's something they're going to definitely see in qualifiers. And it clearly, if you're scouting the United States and you've looked, and there's not that many teams that play it against them, but if you look and see the ones that do, the U.S. have had typically a harder time breaking down.
So what element, when it comes to breaking down a deeper defending team, do you want to see improve from the U.S.? There's a number of ways to attempt to do it, and it's probably a combination of a number of things, but which is one of those things that you think the U.S. has to improve in?
I think you have to see some individuals on the ball that are breaking down that back line on a dribble, willing also to make that run, to get in behind, but mostly on the ball, that creativity. And those types of players who could do that, what we were talking about before, the Tobin Heaths, the Rose Lavelles, the Mal Pews, you know, all three right now fighting to come back from injury or injured. They haven't had that in the midfield.
The most powerful resource in breaking down deep defending teams. Offside flag is up, is the individual. Wang Shanshan trying to break through here.
Good call. Offside.
So quick look there at Ren Guishan. Played very well on Thursday in Sandy in the 1-0 loss for China. Huerta, Ertz now. It's a giveaway here, and China now trying to conjure something up here. Big switch of play, but Crystal Dunn positioned perfectly now and gives it away. Unforced error. A few too many of those maybe to start the second half for the U.S. A little careless with the ball here. Lewis. Huerta now has got a lot of space in front of her. She's got Kristen press, threads the needle to press, and ball is too straight, and off her line comes Peng Shuang. Press was the target. Gushin, very workmanlike midfield player from Changchun SC. Again in that 18 Chinese Women's League. They do have promotion and relegation in the Chinese Women's League, so
yeah,
another element of competition that's added, which I find interesting.
And I find it interesting. Another thing we learned yesterday about China. And this was, I think, part of the reason where they were very successful in the 90s, because they had a very state-run these academies they would send these players to, and they would find these players and take care of them. But parents started to worry in China, is what my understanding is that their kid, if they didn't make the national team, wouldn't get an education. They wouldn't have a chance to better their life. So a lot of parents started dissuading their kids from playing sports in the 1990s and 2000s. And now all of a sudden, as we were talking about with their president, it's a change.
Again, the offside flag is up. U.S. With a high line.
A change of culture, and also that with the advent of more people in China having higher living standards, which was told to us by the Chinese press officer, that they're understanding how good sports are for you, for the whole body, mentally, physically. And so he says now you're finding many more parents encouraging their girls to play, which is a great sign. So the numbers are rapidly increasing in China as well.
Yeah, very interesting. Also, just a reminder, we all remember Christiane from the Brazilian national team, and she plays in the Chinese professional league. But it's mostly Chinese nationals, and this team is made up of players that play on all those 8 teams. Getting a little push here from China now. Li Ying again the target. Ball clipped into the box. China still in possession here. Zhao Wei will get a cross in. It's one time down by Davidson. Ball falls to the top of the box. Zhao Wei now. Her shot is blocked.
And a little run for China here. On their the U.S. on their heels a bit. And when you think about it, this is their 3rd coach for China since the 2015 World Cup, where they had the quarterfinal run, which we've been talking about, to the United States.
They've got players in the box here now. This is a bit of a push here from China. Li Ying trying to get turned. She's capable of creating her own shot. This one will skip in. It'll be easily handled. It was Ren Guxin who got that shot off out of midfield. Guxin has been busy. That time China got 5 and 6 players around the U.S. penalty area. So in watching China, they for sure tonight have to be pleased, because they've gotten into the attacking third of the field a lot more than they did on Thursday night against Sandy.
Yeah.
In Sandy.
I mean, the challenge is when you start to play more offensively and aggressively, you open yourselves up to being exposed, and whether the U.S. can take advantage of that, we'll see.
How much of that is purely recognition? Get back to that in a second. Here's Crystal Dunn. That is a whipped-in cross. That's a beautiful cross. And miss it, and out of play for the goal kick. How much of it is about recognizing when the shape of China is altered?
Well, the space is altered as well. When they're pressing, that means they're opening up space, and the U.S. team usually does very well when that happens, when the game opens up like this.
Your goal scorer, Megan Rapinoe, comes off. Carly Lloyd, the 2-time FIFA Women's World Player of the Year, comes on. Let's take a look back at Megan Rapinoe's goal tonight.
Now they look at it. Rapinoe on that back post, making no mistake about this one.
Lindsey Horan comes on for Julie Ertz. Another very talented midfielder.
So similar to Thursday night, Carly Lloyd coming up into the number 9 spot up high. Alex Morgan pushing out wide. So it's going to be Morgan, Lloyd, and press on that front line.
All over the top. That was a dangerous ball. Davidson. Dunn is here. Dunn was not a member of that 2015 Women's World Cup winning team in Canada. You know how motivated she is to get to a World Cup.
Oh, and a heart wrencher too, because it was the last cut.
China now going to make a change. Lee Tim Tim will come on. Out goes Yen Zin Zin. Dunn's just going to clear her lines here.
Good chatter by Sam Mewis, one of the most vocal players on the team, and also one of the younger ones. You love to see that. You can hear her saying, no foul in that corner, talking to Crystal Dunn.
Well, you could hear the leather laid in there, and that tackle coming from Crystal Dunn on Yao Wei. It's going to be a dangerous free kick here. The U.S. has not been the best in recent times in defending set pieces, so here is a good area of their game that what they want to work on now.
Yeah, how about this stat? The U.S. conceded 6 set piece goals in the last 15 games. That's more than in the last 77 games. So something they're very conscious of.
Very high line here all the way out to the 18. There's a lot of space, as you can see, between Ashlyn Harris and the 18. Depends on this delivery. Oh, it's just pulled in a little too tight, but there were runners in there for China.
How dangerous are those balls? Because all you need is just a little touch for a little deflection.
Davidson a bad touch there. It's one back here by China. Lee Tim Tim into the box off the turn. Boy, an opportunity there. If that was put on target, you could see what Wang Shuang was trying to produce there in the 61st minute.
And just a little sloppy and a little flat in these first 15 here for the United States. And China taking advantage of that. Picking up these little loose balls, second balls. Staying in this game.
The errant first touch here or there, or the unforced error. It's led to some attacks. Morgan to flick it on. Here's Carly Lloyd trying to get there. And coming out of there was Wu Haiyan. It's going to be a nice matchup there, Wu Haiyan and Carly Lloyd. Trying to make a diagonal run there. And left alone. The U.S. now in possession. They've got 5 and 6 around the penalty area to the far post. Nudged off it. No call. Morgan went down. And Allie Long is fouled in her 39th appearance.
Back to the box. Here's Morgan on the back post. Little long with that touch. Let's see it from this angle. I think there's not enough in there for me. You could see her if she didn't. She sold it a little bit at the end.
Alex Morgan had the game winner on Thursday night in Sandy, Utah. Beautiful header that she attacked off the Rapinoe cross, and now is in a bit of a wider position here. Ball comes in the box, and this time shot took a deflection off 2 players. Morgan hit that with her right after coming inside. Be another free kick for the U.S. They take the quick one. Allie Long now. Good switch of play. Dunn. Swerves inside. Oh, wonderful stuff here off the give and goes. Still Crystal Dunn to the far post. Press is going to get there. China getting pushed back here in a big way. Shot is blocked. Getting in front of that was Lin Yupin. U.S. really trying to pin China in here. 64th minute. That's a good switch of play. Zhao Wei now. For China driving inside, and this will be a free kick. Rose Lavelle coming on for Sam Mewis, and Tobin Heath for Alex Morgan. So good moment here for Rose Lavelle.
Yeah, good moment here for U.S. fans who've been waiting for these two for quite a long time. Alex Morgan hoping she could get one before coming off. Good work on both sides of the ball. That was the player that was just tracking down. Alex Morgan was tracking down that Chinese defender. Rose Lavelle, as we mentioned earlier, so much talent for such a young player, but only one game in the last year, battling a hamstring injury.
The box it comes, and the offside flag was up. So we talked about those that love to dribble and take people on off the dribble. Well, we just have seen the entry of two of those types of players in Heath and Lavelle. And now China's going to counter with a couple of subs of their own. So Yui is going to come on. She will come on. And also coming on is number 26, Wang Yan for Gushin. Each team allowed 6 substitutions. Here is Lavelle. Interesting that Lavelle and Tobin Heath in and around the same area of the field here, along with Crystal Dunn. That's quite the trio.
All on that left side, right. Heath went in for Morgan. Straight position swap. Rose Lavelle in up in that high attacking midfield, center midfield on the left side.
Great to see Tobin Heath back out there. 2015 World Cup winner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 30 years of age with the Portland Thorns out of Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Also spent time playing in France with PSG. It's been quite some time. Last time we saw her was September of 2017 against New Zealand. Davidson to Ashlyn Harris. Huerta's got her back to an attacker here, so she's in a bit of trouble here. China trying to double her up over there, and she's going to have to concede the throw-in.
I think that's a situation where Ashlyn Harris has just got to send that one long. It's been a couple like that with her feet. Especially with China starting to press a little bit more coming forward.
Trying to spear the volley, the high kick there. Drew a few oohs and ahs. Christina Uncle just allowing things to move forward here. Huerta. High pressure, they win it back. Ali Long and that deeper roll, Julie, in front of the 2 center backs.
And you mentioned earlier the path she's taken to get to the national team. We didn't get into it, but what a path. I mean, this is a player who came onto the national team after having a successful pro career and just kept fighting to get in the mix. Playing in the off season, as we've said before, but worth repeating. She plays in the boroughs of New York City, and there's a great underground Hispanic league with all the men. La Gringa, they call her.
Ardent futsal player from Northport, New York. Played at Penn State, University of North Carolina. Tonight appearing for her 39th time, so a late bloomer when it comes to the national team. Davidson gets caught in possession here. She's had a couple of moments here that have been nervy tonight, but she's also shown us a great range of passing as well. Only 19 years of age. So she picks up a yellow card. 70th minute now. Set piece for the U.S. to defend here. Very high line. Goes into the back post. Long does a great job to throw her head at it. Lloyd. And it's going to be a free kick. Rose Lavelle getting fouled there.
Jill Ellis straight off her chair, off the bench, asking for a card on that one.
Very protective there from the U.S. national team coaches. We all know how long it's taken Rose Lavelle to get back to this point.
I can see why she'd be off her bench quick.
Here's Davidson. Going to hit a long diagonal into the box. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win the second ball? Taking it right off the head of her own defender is Peng Shumeng. If you want competition, you want the Tournament of Nations. July 26. The U.S. get Japan, they get Australia, and they get Brazil, Julie.
Yeah, and it's continuing this pattern of, and it's one of the reasons they stopped going to the Algarve and had the She Believes, and they brought the Tournament of Nations in so that they can get consistently good opposition.
Iran spinning out of there.
And how important with World Cup qualifiers in October.
Got out jumped here. It's a 2-on-1 if China hurries here. It's a chance to get back in this, and they do. They've tied it up. Two players go up for the U.S. Don't get ahead on it. And it leads to a 2-on-1.
Starting this all the way back. Carly giving high pressure, but the two players coming at the same time. Just a miscommunication by the U.S. Dunn doesn't know whether to go or to stay. She gets caught in between. She starts to go. Good recognition by China.
Lee Tim Tim to Li Ying, who hits that finish and has tied things up here. And on a very elementary mistake at the back.
Yeah, and it's two players. One's got a drop, of course, one's got to go ball, just a lack of communications. But it started at the top. Carly pressed really high, and I was noticing it. Press tried to go with her, so you have this big gap in the midfield as well. They got spread out because the rest of the team wasn't with her.
Very revived China now, and they've gotten very aggressive here in the second half as well, and they've tied things up.
And what a great challenge for this U.S. team, because you could see in the second half it was flatter. There wasn't the same energy. There wasn't the buzz that you had of the first half. And how are they going to react to this, especially when you get some of these players back in for the first time after big absences?
A lot of changes made as well, which has to be factored into everything, but not when it comes to two center backs going up for a singular ball. So off the free kick here now. Wang Shuang. is number 7, and she's going to try it. She bends it. Ashlyn Harris with a great save, picked it out of the corner. And it goes out for the goal kick, but Ashlyn Harris, who has not had a lot to do here tonight, all of a sudden in the second half has.
Great save by Ashlyn, and a reminder, it's hard. Look at that wall. There's no vision. You're not seeing that ball till it clears those heads. And having to react last minute like that. Good save by Ashlyn Harris.
She picked herself up really quickly after making that save as well. And boy, how about the offering from Wang Shuang? Tremendous free kick. Done. Tobin Heath. Changes the point of attack. Joining in here is Huerta now. She's got Press to her right. Will play to the feet of Press. 3 in the box for the U.S. Now 4 with Lavelle getting in there. Kristen Press now driving parallel to the top of the 18. Works a give and go. Ball is flicked and goes in. Not sure if there was a handball there, but the U.S. is going to take the goal. It's Tobin Heath on her return. That must feel good.
Yeah, you can see it. Little give and go. Takes it off the shoulder. A bit of a miss hit, although Heath is probably going to claim, I meant to do that. But what a nice little give and go. Just clips under it. And Heath, what a response for the United States, and especially for that one, her first game in 9 months.
Wang Shuang now has gotten into the box for China. They're trying to respond here. And the U.S. will get it cleared. Now, if you're Tobin Heath, you'll take that goal any way you can, Julie.
Yeah. And, you know, and to give her credit, when they're looking for those little combinations in there, those are the type of players that they are, and Press and Heath. Again, when you talk about trying to break through.
Val Sauerbrunn done. It's a very flat, straight ball, and again, it's another unforced error. Jill Ellis is not going to be happy tonight with the amount of unforced errors that have come from the U.S. women. Lloyd with a towering header here to keep this attack going. Tobin Heath got runners to her right. Will try one at the near post. Maybe saw Peng Shuang maybe kind of looking her off and maybe trying something spectacular there. ESPN's presentation of U.S. Soccer brought to you by the long-lasting power of Energizer, still going. And Papa John's, 2 large 1-topping pizzas, just $7.77 each. Merritt Mathias, Texas A&M, will come on for Sofia Huerta. First cap for Mathias. Big moment in her career. Plays for the North Carolina Courage. Full complement of substitutions have now been used by Jill Ellis. (2-1) United States, 78th minute. Look at the jersey there on Becky Sauerbrunn, the obvious free kick for the U.S. MLS on ESPN, presented by Audi, is back on Saturday, June 30th at 7 Eastern. Atlanta United taking on Orlando City, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. The coverage will begin at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And it'll also stream live on the ESPN app. Han Peng getting the yellow card for China. I've been watching a lot of games on ESPN Plus. Absolutely
You're
love
loving
it.
the Plus, huh?
Oh yeah.
We got the Plus as well. Our Plus has a lot of cricket on it.
It's got a lot of everything on it.
I'm not so sure I'm loving the Plus with the cricket.
U.S. pressing now here with Tobin Heath. Lavelle. Here is Rose Lavelle now. This is what she loves to do. Loves to take people on. We said, you know, how did that come into your game? Just said, I had a wonderful youth coach who always encouraged me. And due to my smaller stature, I figured I had to be a good person off the ball and off the dribble.
So it was survival, really. Also a means of surviving, she learned to cook. Big news. I said, who taught you? Sonny. She lives with Mal Pugh and Andy Sullivan. How about that? That's a feature. I know they did something on Lifetime with them, but. And I said, well, I was thinking she'd learn how to cook like a 5-course meal or something. And what'd you learn how to cook, Rose? Eggs. Really? Scrambled? Sunny side up? Scrambled. And she had this big smile, like, victory. I was like, all right, I'm not coming to your house for dinner.
All three of those on the Washington Spirit of the NWSL under Jim Gabarra. Here's Matthias getting a touch in. Also plays for the North Carolina Courage. She got caught in possession there and is going to have to concede the free kick here. 81st minute. Has to be a nervy moment getting that first cap.
Oh, yeah.
But exciting as well.
Yeah, and what a great opportunity to come into a game where you can make a difference like this. Final minutes, some tired legs out there.
So a lot going on tonight for Jill Ellis. Obviously wanting to keep the fluidity going in the first 45 minutes for sure. Players coming back from injury, getting minutes here tonight. Working them back into it. And also providing opportunity to some that have not gotten caps as well. So lots going on here tonight in Cleveland.
You know, and the theme we've been talking about all game is that I think, you know, the U.S. really in this position a year out wanted to see itself in.
Davidson again got caught in possession there.
That's the third time we've said that for Davidson. Just a little bit slow on the ball. So unlike her.
Got caught a couple times. Ball played into the box. Off the turn, there's a hit. Going to ground. Good clean handling there from Ashlyn Harris. But again, China, with some quick circulation of the ball, getting a good opportunity there from Sel Yui.
And like I was saying, I think this is a situation where you think, you know, you're a year out and you're starting to lock in. You're starting to look at your formations and some of your consistent lineups.
Cross is blocked. Carly Lloyd trying to make it happen.
And they just haven't been able to do that. Not yet.
If there's ever a scorer of big goals, she is one of them, Carly Lloyd. 254th appearance tonight, sitting on 100 goals for the U.S. Had that halfway line shot that caught Ayumi Kaori off her line against Japan in the 2015 Women's World Cup final. That will go down in lore. Not to mention a hat trick on the day. The corner.
A hat trick in 16 minutes on the day.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me that.
Jeez. Amazing.
Two people have ever produced a hat trick in a World Cup final. On the men's side, Jeff Hurst. On the women's side, Hurst for England, Carly Lloyd for the United States. And Jeff's did not come in 16 minutes. It was England's lone World Cup win in 1966. trying to break the pressure here. Sauerbrunn this time will play a header that's just nodded to her right back. Matthias gave it away. And Sauerbrunn says, enough of this. We're just going to knock it over the halfway line and kind of regroup here. Pino and Heath for the United States. Li Ying for China. 2-1 U.S. And that'll be a free kick. I have to be impressed with what China has done here in the second half, Julie.
Yeah, and like we said, especially this coach has only been with this team for 2 weeks. Brand new. This is only their second game together. They've looked organized. They've stayed in it. They've been compact when they need to, sprung out when they need to, and get a nice finish.
Looks like she rolled her ankle, Tobin Heath. Here's her numbers in her last 133 international appearances. June 26, 8:30 Eastern. ESPN News is your home for an exciting USL tilt. Nashville SC hosting Indy 11 from Tennessee Park in Nashville, Tennessee. Coverage begins 8:30 Eastern on ESPN News. Also streams live on the ESPN app. So a little hold your breath moment here for Tobin Heath.
Ankle was she had a back earlier in the absence, and also had ankle surgery when she was rehabbing from her back. So they really are waited with bated breath on the sideline, hoping all is okay. And she also came into this game with a little bit of a hamstring issue. Saw her grabbing her leg there, talking to the trainer.
For the moment, with 10 players waiting to reintroduce Tobin Heath. She's still standing on the halfway line. And now she makes her way back on. Ashlyn Harris all the way out to the 18. Came up with that sparkling save off the free kick from Wang Shuang. Heath. China throw in here in the 87th minute.
I think if you're Jill Ellis and you're part of this staff, you're thinking, okay, first game, obviously not what they wanted, needed some growth. They got that in the first half. But the challenge for the U.S. going forward is, can you string 90 minutes, right? And especially when you make some changes, because there are going to be changes. And we didn't see that tonight from the U.S. You saw a second half that was flatter, didn't come out with the same spark, some errors, and then you saw a good team like China capitalize on it. And when you come into World Cup qualifiers and World Cups, you just cannot afford to have two defenders go up for a header and make a mistake like that, because they will capitalize on it. They're able to pull out of it, which is another positive, but that is...
Heath will try this and may have seen Peng Shumeng off her line. In the end, it's an easy catch for the Chinese goalkeeper. 20 years of age, has played every minute of these two games. But I think that's an incredible point that you brought up, because in CONCACAF you do not want to make, in World Cup qualifying, you don't want to give anything to anybody. Here's Heath. Tobin Heath Trying to get a second here. Try to cut inside on the outside of her right foot. Goes back to the goalkeeper, Peng Shumeng.
And the great news is you get players like this back, though. You got a Tobin Heath back. You see what she brings to the lineup.
Sauerbrunn in a race here. Ashlyn Harris is going to call her off it. Certainly a game of two very differing halves here today. Much of that because of the implement of substitutions and nice work there from Long, who stepped up to win it. Matthias in her first cap. Davidson, Dunn, Lavelle. All moving confidently off the feet of U.S. players here. They earn the free kick. Allie Long has put some good minutes in here. 90th minute. And to be fair, you'd expect mistakes in this game here tonight.
Yeah, now is the time to make them, too. And you've got a lot of players coming back that aren't able to give full 90, coming back into fitness. I mean, another great sign, Rose Lavelle back in the mix.
Morgan Bryan getting minutes in the first half. Of course, Jill Ellis telling us yesterday, she said, you know, we've got to build back up Morgan Bryan. What is she?
She's been out. She hasn't been getting minutes. She's now gone from Houston to Chicago to Lyon, now back to Chicago. So I think it's getting consistency, but mostly getting that mental edge. It's huge when you lose it.
Here's Lavelle. How she took that touch away from pressure. Floats it out wide. Press getting the full 90 minutes here tonight. That wonderful cross to Megan Rapinoe in the first half for the game's opening goal in the 35th minute. On a night where she earns her 100th cap. Matthias. And China trying to hit her vacated space. Li Ying, their goal scorer, trying to get there, and good work from Davidson to provide the cover laterally. Came in behind her partner at center back, Becky Sauerbrunn. Heath has shown up on the right side of the field. To slow it up. Got Lloyd in the box, and he's going to earn the corner here after some diligent work down the right side.
Another great ball in by Kristen Press to get her in behind.
On the whistle. All right, got you. We're going to wait for the whistle.
A little trouble here right now for Lin Yupin. Plays for Wuhan FC. Been put under pressure a lot here tonight as a center back for China. 4 minutes of stoppage time. The U.S. off a corner. Love to pick off a third goal here. It's driven in towards the near post. Lin Yupin with the header. And that's the ball that needed to be played. Lee Tim Tim, the second half sub, will knock it back. Lavelle. Walt helped on here. Wang Xuan. You have to be impressed with the technical ability of China and these quick little give and goes. Cleared by Crystal Dunn. It almost trickled through for a shooting opportunity. China's not going to go away silently here into the night of Cleveland.
No. Man, if you're Zhao Xiaocheng and you're the coach of China 2 weeks in, I think you got to be pleased with these 2 games.
This group under him have only been together for 2.5 weeks. Again, China has already qualified for the 2019 World Cup in France. Matthias going to drive it over the halfway line. Wu Haiyan. Zhao Wei. That does it. A 2-1 victory here tonight. The game-winning goal will go to Tobin Heath. Ashlyn Harris coming up with a vital save off a free kick. The U.S. now unbeaten in their last 16 matches under Jill Ellis. Started the scoring in the 35th minute. Megan Rapinoe. Li Ying would tie it in the 72nd. 3 minutes later, Tobin Heath. We'll take a break from First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up from Ohio after this. Tobin Heath. You see her here? Well, she got the game winner here tonight in Cleveland. Member of the Portland Thorns. They'll be in action against the Chicago Red Stars on ESPN News. Her first game there. Jen Hildreth, Kate Margraf, and Dalen Cuff on the call of that one. It's a big win here for the U.S. tonight. 2-1 winners over China. Megan Rapinoe getting one of the goals in this one. Coming up next, it's an ESPN FC special. For Julie Foudy, our entire crew, thank you for joining us. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Once again, our final score from Cleveland, Ohio. The United States, 2-1 winners over China. Until next time, U.S. winners over China.